What's up, guys? Showing off another Kraken build. This is Kraken build number 201. This is in a Doxa style case, and I've done one similar to this before, but this one is actually a little bit different. So we'll get into it a little bit here. So laser dial, black looms in the eyes, and the pips going around backside looms on those. Custom airbrushed in a nice orange, and you really have to see it in person to kind of appreciate the color that gives off under that sapphire. You can kind of get a look at it. What's cool is, with it being so light, you can see the imperfections in the background. Whereas whenever I solid fill these, you don't actually get to see these, so it gives a lot more character to the dial. So this is one of those Doxa style cases. Has a 120 click bezel. The interior stays, but oh, I'm sorry, I said the interior stays, but it doesn't. The full thing goes around. So this is not like the one I did before. The one I did before, the interior stayed, the exterior went around. So Tachymeter style insert. So with those, how those work, so I've never actually quite used one or needed to use one. If you start it, wherever you start it, we're in the grand scheme of things. Once it goes around, and then once it completes, which I need to wind this so you can kind of see this. This has been sitting here for a second. Tells you the speed. So if it goes all the way around, what is that? 60 miles an hour, right? Because if you're going a mile in 1 minute, you would go 60 miles in 1 hour. So if they do it here, it's 70 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour. So you can kind of tell your speed. So that's how that works. Get this wound up a little bit so it's going. But it is a bezel that works really well. Actually, this bezel comes on this already, and then we actually just made the dial to kind of go with this case. So as you saw, this is a automatic mechanical, so you can wind it, wear it, put it in a watch winder, but you'll wind it right here to get it going. This was actually a Seastern watch that I picked up, and the Seastern watch had, it comes with its own dial. I picked the watch up for a decent price, and then realized that, okay, it has an NH36 in it, so we had to swap it to an NH38 movement, because there's no reason to have a date wheel in there if we can't see the date wheel. So swapped it out to that, so because if you just put a dial over top of that, you're still going to have a click to set the date, and you're like, what is this click for? It's not doing anything. You're like, oh, it's under the dial, it's changing the date. So you don't want any of that or feeling that click of it changing the date. So swapped it out from the NH36 to an NH38. Could have been an NH35. Actually, I think that's what it was. So swapped it over to an NH38 movement. Then this watch, it had its own info here on the crown, its own little kind of logo. So we used a on the Dremel. It is one of those, like, it's a grinder, but it's a polisher for the rock. It basically looks like sandpaper that's made out of rock, if you're familiar with that. So this had, info around that, like NH whatever, what the model number was and all that. So we went all the way around and then ground that all down, leaving that Seastern logo there here in the center. So there was no other logo work or anything like that on that. It just kind of had, I think it was like a little starfish or something here on the crown. But so pop that off, took off the little spec information all the way around here. And we were able to use it like that. So didn't save too much money other than, versus just buying everything individually and piecing it all together. Especially when we had to swap the movement and we only kind of bought it to get at the case. I thought I was just going to be able to swap the case back out and the crown, but they were kind of specific to it and became more of a problem than you'd think. So just had to work with what we had there and spend a lot more time in removing that stuff. But we have a 20 millimeter straight black on black stitched leather. Did a brushed preview buckle on here to go with the case. And that is the build. So show off that loom a little bit on here. So there's your loom. We'll loom that again since that one eye didn't get any loom there, so it kind of looked a little funny being behind that glass, or being behind that hand. So that is the build. As a reference, it's an automatic mechanical, so you can wind it, wear it, put it in a watch winder. But if it's dead or you're not going to be very active, make sure you wind it just a little bit. How you do that is you back the crown off. It is a compression, so you have to push down and twist to get it to start. Whenever you're backing it off, it pops itself out. At that point, you can wind. So back it down. You can wind. It's like a 41-ish hour power reserve on these things. So when you're happy with your winding, you'll pull it to the one and only click. You can now set your time. Okay, Google, what time is it? And there's the hacking movement, so it's going to stop. 8:59 p.m. About there, right? You'll push this down, get it out of that time setting, and screw that back down. And that is the build. So nice little polished sides to it, brushed face. Came out pretty awesome. So if you have a Seastern watch and you want something like this done, can do that. It doesn't have the correct movement in it, but we can use the case with the attached bezel, and we can use the case back and crown and modify those a little bit. But can be done with this one. I thought that was a good platform to work off of, but it's not as easy as just buying everything individual, because it's kind of the way that these are sold are they're kind of set up for their own stuff. So a little bit more effort involved to get these the way we want them. But as with every boat, it's going to come with matching beads. You saw it's 9 o'clock at night, so the light isn't coming through as well on everything, but plenty of pictures of the build. Come in an orange special edition Kraken box. Come with a watch cleaner. This is good on all glass and metal parts, so everything here in the center. And microfiber to go with that to remove any fingerprints, etc., etc. And then this will come with some leather conditioner. This is good to keep this leather strap perfectly soft. Apply the conditioner on the front and back, let it soak in. We'll keep this strap as pliable as ever. So this is super, super soft leather. And that's the build. So if it's going to you, congrats, you got build 201. I believe this is the only second time I've done this Doxa style case. Well, I did, yeah, this specific one. There were some other ones that were with the copper Kraken dials that had like that distressed case. So trying to do more stuff like this. I'll have another one of these cases where I can put it all together at some point when we figure out what we're going to do to make it a little bit unique as well. But that's the build. If it's going to you, congrats. Thank you so much for your support. If you want me to build you something custom and unique, reach out and I'll see what I can do. And if you want to continue to see videos like this, like and subscribe as I put them up all the time. Thanks, guys.